House GOP Weaponization Committee announces its first hearing, the weaponization of government, and Liz Cheney's replacement, and future George Santos drag character, because it's really weird and you can't unsee it. Harriet Hageman comes on, who, by the way, seems like a troll character. I think she's like, this is an actress, lives in in Wyoming, and just decided, I'm going to create a character called Harriet and just do it everywhere. And then she got elected.
Well, you won't hear much about this in the mainstream media, but
yeah. And what you won't hear is that Newsmax is mainstream media. It's lamestream media. That would be, most people think those are synonymous, and that one's a derogatory term for the other. It's not. There's the mainstream media, which is most of the things you see, and then there's the lamestream media, which is things that look like mainstream media but aren't.
the committee Republicans have been waiting for is ready to start their engines. The weaponization of the federal government House Subcommittee is set to hold its first hearing next week, and I anticipate it'll likely be its own news cycle.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be super exciting. You guys are going to run it live, I guess, huh?
Panel will examine allegations of bias at the DOJ, the intel community, and other government agencies that have been doing this. Remember, all those have worked to silence and target Republican voices. Now, the vision here is to have a church...
Well, I guess the idea is, have they?
...style panel with a mission to root out the
a panel. It's going to be a panel.
deep state in these agencies.
Oh, my God. We're going to finally see the deep state, see what they really look like. They're going to open the mask and it's Luke. And I get it. It's an allegory.
Well, the committee has not announced the focus or the witnesses for its first hearing yet, but...
I'm shocked. I would think they would be very excited and proud of who they're going to drag forward. And I mean, it's going to be amazing. It's just going to be amazing. So I don't even want to know. You know what I mean? It's like Christmas. I don't want to know. I used to want to peek when I was a kid. I don't want to peek.
Joining me now is the upgrade from Liz Cheney, the new Congresswoman from Wyoming, Congresswoman Harriet Hageman. We appreciate you being here, ma'am.
Yeah. And I do mean ma'am. Also, yikes.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, Congresswoman, what can we expect from this hearing, and what's the first target?
Yeah, ask her. She's never been in a hearing ever before. She was just elected, and she has no fucking idea. What? Honest to God, you couldn't get somebody who actually had worked on a committee? I guess they couldn't. All right. Now that they got kicked off AT&T, nobody wants to come on Newsmax anymore.
Well, what we can expect from this committee is to expose what's been going on in the federal government, especially over the last couple of years.
Oh, you mean like the whole Matt Gaetz, MTG, Lauren Boebert, that part?
In reality, longer than that. Starting in
yeah, probably, first day of Trump, I would guess.
2016, with what happened with President Trump related to
him getting elected? Yeah.
The Russia collusion hoax. And
yeah, it wasn't a hoax. Again, it's so funny that these assholes think they're like friends of John Wayne Gacy's, and they're like, you know what, John, they've been fucking with you long enough, so my friends and I are here with some shovels to dig up your crawl space and show them exactly that everything they've said about you is bullshit. No, guys, just have some lemonade. No, we're not afraid. Well, let us do the digging for you, man. It's all a hoax. You said so. They're just after you for the shit. That's bone.
You can talk about what happened with Anthony Fauci and the Wuhan lab and the lockdowns. There are just so many ways in which the federal government has been weaponized against the citizens of this country. And so we're going to be looking at everything from First Amendment issues. We're going to be looking at
yeah, so it's PR. Will there be any bills? Will there be a change in budget? Will there be an after action? Will they try to find some anecdotal asshole who said or did the wrong thing at the wrong time because they fucking hate Trump because they've seen the evidence against him, but they can't talk about the evidence, so they just seem like they hate him for no reason. So they drag that person out, and they're like, why do you hate Trump so much? And like, because I've seen the witness being non-responsive.
The health issues. It's going to be a broad array. I'm not sure that Jim Jordan has yet announced who the witnesses are on Thursday.
No, he just said that. He just said they haven't announced it. You were sitting right there. You had a thing in your ear and you heard. You're on the committee. So.
For the specific topics we're going to be discussing, but I can assure you that eventually we're going to be looking at the FBI.
Eventually.
The NIH, the Department of Justice, the EPA. There are a whole variety.
The DOD, the PTA, the SOS, the Office Max, everybody.
Agencies that need additional oversight.
Oh, sure. And Congresswoman, you obviously remember the domestic terrorist parents that wanted to speak out at school board meetings.
No, yeah, they're going to look into that and find out that the ones that they were looking into are ones that had threatened to murder principals and vice principals and teachers and people on the school board alongside them. And that's what the FBI is supposed to do.
I was one of those parents. I got to ask.
No, you weren't. This guy's like, no, you weren't. The FBI didn't bother you. They didn't get a knock on your fucking door. What he means is I stood up at my school board meeting and said something, which I don't watch enough of this asshole. I don't doubt that he probably is the type, but I also doubt that he actually fucking did it. He just says he did. Good Lord.
You get to the bottom of some of these things where
she started there, buddy.
They've been found beyond a reasonable doubt by your committee that says you guys well exceeded your power as government. You well exceeded your constitutional authority. What happens then?
Yeah, after you guys talk about a bunch of shit and then you try to do something, what happens? Alex, I'll take fucking nothing for 600.
Well, I think that that's a very good question. And the reality is that there just absolutely has to be accountability for this. There have to be consequences.
If you find something bad, and if that consequence is in regard to policy as opposed to an individual. If
Congress holds the
also no
power of the purse. It's the most important power that we have in
Yes, they're gonna, like Ruth Buzzy, they're going to hit you with their purse. Just fap you with the ring. That's the wrong word. Sorry.
In fact, and I believe that we need to exercise it. I believe that when we expose what has been going on in these agencies, I think we need to do a house cleaning. I think that there are people who need to lose their jobs. I think that we may need to be looking at the
I agree. The two of you actually are high on my list right now.
scope and power, the scope of the power of these agencies and what needs to be reined in. The other thing that we're going to be looking at is what authorization these agencies have anyway. What a lot of people don't realize is the CDC actually has a very narrow scope of authority primarily to
all they can do is advise, which is why they advised the president, and the president had to sign off on everything. And so by digging around in the CDC and what they put forward is, oh shit. So these assholes are going to haul Fauci and Deborah Birx and other people at the CDC in front of this panel and say, what did you force Trump to do? And they're going to go, nothing. It took us 2 fucking weeks to get him to respond, but he signed off on everything. I would not diss Ruth Buzzy ever. Do that, please. Please do that. Please bring all these people forward and then go through the paperwork and try to find where the CDC filed some sort of legal thing to make Trump do something he didn't do willingly. Oh, it's going to be so good. It's so good.
to deal with diseased animals. Yet look what the CDC did to all of us during the course of the so-called pandemic. So
the so-called pandemic, and the CDC did nothing. They advised, as they do, the president of the United States, and he signed off on all of it. And then he held his big dumb signature up and went like this. Yeah.
It is important that we look at the authority of these agencies, rein them in, and I believe we need to cut their budgets.
Yeah, I mean, Congressman,
we need to cut their budgets, especially, the FBI, because they're going to eventually get around to my buck.
For a lifelong, Wyoming resident, so yeah, I realize you have not a lot of room on your shelf for some of the doublespeak that comes out of D.C.
I see. She's got the frank Southern manner of someone in a northeastern state.
Real quick, 30 seconds left. Are you guys prepared to make the recommendation to potentially defund entire agencies should you deem that it's not savable?
Yeah, they'll recommend it, and the entire rest of the party and every Democrat will go, fuck you. Piss off, Harriet. We want to keep our jobs. Are you out of your goddamn mind? The FBI are in the process of like weeding out serial killers and organized crime and all kinds of shit all day, every fucking day, and you want to pull the rug out from under you? Are you fucking dumb? You think defund the police was a bad bumper sticker?
Absolutely, I am.
Well, we know you are. You're a fucking lunatic.
Okay.
I don't think that we have any choice. I think
Yes. Well, obviously, a hammer has no choice when everything is a nail. It's just how it works.
that we have to look at our ultimate authority as to what these agencies are doing. What happened during the pandemic? Again, what has happened to our school boards? What has happened with the weaponization of the Department of Education and the Department of Justice?
The weaponization of the Department of Education. You mean in Florida?
Have to get this country back on track. These agencies have too much power, too much money, and they're taking away too many of our freedoms.
Yeah, we are paying people to take away our own rights. Congresswoman.
Yes, we are, and obviously it's sort of the S&M part of the Constitution. It's down below the fold, if you know what I'm saying. When you roll it up, you can read it. If you hold it up to the sun when it's in a tubular fashion, that that's how I vote. Who's most likely to give me the dirty citizen treatment I deserve? Get that we're all looking for that political pegging, aren't we? Honestly, if you look at, first of all, the positive, these folks think this is gonna be amazing. They think they're gonna roll out. Believe me, if you think that Twitter files were a fucking flop, and they were a dud, a derp. It was a derp dud. Oh my God. Wait till these committee hearings happen, and all the Democrats are just sitting there going, yeah, I don't even know what the fuck to even ask on this thing. You guys are just all over the fucking map. I'm doodling over here because you guys, it's just you just dragging people in front so you can scream at them for no particular reason, and none of it makes any sense. Did you do the best job you could with the knowledge you had at the time? Uh-huh. Did you take an oath to the United States? Yep. Do you believe you lived up to that oath? Uh-huh. Do you plan on continuing to work to support that oath in the country? Mm-hmm. I'm done. What did you want to do? Something about the flat earth? This is going to be so fucking good. And there will be, believe me, you'll see little meme clips like Forbes does this all the time. Where is it? Let me see. Jim, well, Ted Cruz, they use a lot of Cruz, but it's the House, but you'll see what I mean. Destroys committee, blah, blah, blah. Something like that. Yeah, here's the this is from the Breakfast Club on yeah, here you go. Watch Ted Cruz destroy a biased, bumbling AG Merrick Garland. He has always been a bad guy. Biased, partisan Merrick Garland weaponized the Justice Department from the beginning to target. Okay, whatever. Garland. This is Garland clash over school board memo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I'm going to use my most masculine voice, Mr. Chairman. Let me know if the beard is too much.
For 8 years under Barack Obama, the Department of Justice was politicized and weaponized.
Citation needed.
When you came before this committee in your confirmation hearing, you promised things would be different. I asked you specifically, quote, will you commit to this committee that under your leadership, the Department of Justice will not target the political opponents of this administration? Here was your answer, quote, absolutely. It's totally inappropriate for the department to target any individual because...
Yeah, that word target is the part that's going to run you aground, dipshit, because you're not targeting someone as a police officer or an FBI agent or anybody else if indeed it is your job to solve a crime or catch a criminal and that person turns out to be that criminal or turns out to have committed that crime. You see, that's not you targeting them. That's them putting the target on themselves.
Because of their politics or their position in a campaign.
Right. Because of their politics, their position in a campaign. Right. If it's because of their actions, which are illegal, then fuck off.
That was your promise just a few months ago.
And now we see that you go after, we see you sending FBI agents to Mar-a-Lago to pick up classified documents that the president said he doesn't even have, so you must have not even gotten anything.
I'm sorry to say you have broken that promise.
Are you really?
There is a
Because I think you're saying it regardless of the truth.
difference between law and politics.
All right, let's hear it. I don't need to do this whole clip because we're just doing this for reference. The difference between law and politics. Here we go. Law and politics. Everybody, Ted Cruz, take it away. Mr. Cancun.
And General Garland, you know the difference between law and
Well, then why are you telling him? Is it because that lady behind you doesn't seem to be paying attention, or is it just for the rest of us? You talking over his shoulder to us? That's rude.
politics. Law is based on facts. It is impartial. It is not used as a tool of political retribution.
And politics are not and are.
This memo was not law. This memo was politics.
I'll just take your word for it since the clip doesn't include it. And sure.
On Wednesday, September 29th, the National School Board Association wrote a letter to the president asking the president to use the Department of Justice to target parents that were upset at critical race theory, that were upset at mask mandates in schools, to target them as domestic terrorists.
Oh, I see. Just anybody who's upset, target them. Is that how it was written? Yeah, this is the same shit we've heard over and over. Okay, if you're upset, if you talk loudly at a PTA meeting, nobody gives a fuck. Once you start phoning in death threats, it's a whole fucking different ballgame, dummy. That's not targeting. That is domestic terror. You are using terrorism for political purposes. You are threatening people's lives for political purposes. And you will live in the same country as them, hence domestic terrorism. Fuck off. This is so boring. It's annoying. But again, you're going to see a bunch of videos that say that. Watch them destroy this person. You're going to see a lot of stuff labeled that. And then when you click on that video and you watch it, or you watch it here with me, and I'm glad to walk you through it, because believe me, that thing is going to print some joy for us like you would not believe over here at Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. We are going to have it's just going to be, like just a freshly fruiting tree. Just picking these things off and putting them in my little basket of comedy. And, if you watch those, there's going to be a tendency to think, "Oh my God, they're doing these things." Yeah, they're trying to punch their way out of a paper bag and failing. I can watch that. I can enjoy that. I can find the upside of that, and I know you can too.